Hello and welcome to ChrisCourse channel's Short Answer Sunday, where I answer 10 of your questions while playing a free game. Today's game is Mari0, a free combination of the original Mario and Portal. I should disclaim at this point, I never actually played any of the Mari0 games. I somehow managed to miss all of them, so don't expect me to be very good at this. I was fairly good at Portal, but I don't think this really bears much of a resemblance, and from what I've heard, the Portals actually kind of make it harder. So let's get cracking on that and start on the first question. Number 1. Out of chemistry and physics, which do you see as most important? Both. It seems like a bit of a cop-out answer, but they are both important in their own way. Oh god, no, that's not where I want a portal. That's where I want a portal, and then I want one there. There. Jump. And flagpole! There we are, I did something right. Chemistry probably has more essential applications for things like medicine and industrial chemicals for manufacturing. For example, sulfuric acid's a massive one that's used in a whole raft of processes, and we'd be kind of buggered without it as a society at the moment. But on the other side of things, without physics we'd have no X-ray and no MRI for diagnosis, we'd have no modern cars, we'd have no power for heating or air conditioning, and certainly no computers, because chips are almost entirely based on some fairly advanced physics. So yeah, ditching either would totally bugger our society, and by that measure they're both equally important. There. Oh dear, that's not gone well. Oh no, that's gone brilliantly. No. There we go. Coins. Oh, why not? Oh, stuff that I can't be bothered. Oh, that dropped down. Physics. Number 2. Who is your favourite scientist throughout the ages, and for what reasons? There are far too many brilliant scientists and mathematicians through the ages who have contributed to where we are now to pick just one of them. The old line about standing on the shoulders of giants really is the case, and the work of every scientist is based on the work of so many people who came before them that it's meaningless to single out any person in particular, because the famous ones are basically just ones who brought together the dangling threads people before had left behind. That said, I'd probably have to pick Einstein, because God did that man have good hair. Okay, looks like we have to start again every single time I die. Okay, let's try and die a bit less, okay? Let's try and just get through this game alive. Right, number 3, what is your opinion of SETI? For those who don't know, SETI is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is a group of people working to scan the sky for signs of life on other planets by watching for radio transmissions and that kind of thing. And it's hardly a waste of time conceptually, because it's pretty much mathematically impossible for us to be alone in the universe, as it simply isn't that difficult for life to spring into being given the correct conditions, and they're plentiful. That said, the odds of us detecting said life are pretty much negligible, as it would have to be advanced enough to be spewing out radio signals, which narrows it down, and they'd have to actually be strong and clear enough to reach us as anything other than mindless static. So it's really quite unlikely to come up with anything, but it's worth a go on the off chance. Number 4. Would something like the nanosuits of Crysis ever be possible, or is it just science fiction guff? Again, for those who don't know, in Crysis you have a suit capable of either enhancing your strength, making you faster, acting as an overpowered armour, or making you invisible. Now, some aspects of it are very possible. I'll be doing an episode sometime in the future on exoskeletons, and miniaturized versions of those based on hydraulics or pneumatics could certainly act to artificially boost your strength in a compact suit, so that's feasible. Enhancing your running speed is a bit more dubious, as there's only so fast your body parts can move before you start to break something. It could, however, take some of the load off to allow you to run at your top speed for longer without getting tired, so again, that's sort of viable in a roundabout way. Armour technology is certainly getting better all the time, and while a flexible suit capable of absorbing hundreds of bullets and things is pretty much a pipe dream, it's conceptually possible, and there are people working on more advanced ceramic plates for armours and things to cut down their weight and all that, so we're getting towards that. As to active camouflage, again, it's possible, if a little bit more iffy. There are flexible displays in the late stages of development at the moment, and combined with miniature high-definition cameras, they could certainly do a respectable job of hiding you visually, if, hardly perfect. Certainly be better than the current ghillie suits and things. You'd stick out like a sore thumb in infrared, though, because they'd only work in the visual range. It's not really possible to cool a human body down enough to hide it in that respect, so it wouldn't be perfect. But all in all, the nanosuit, as it's referred to, isn't actually as unrealistic as it seems in terms of the basic technology behind it. Right, number 5. I'd like to hear a take on the idea of genetic engineering and the ethical implications of patenting genes. Genetic engineering is pretty hard to argue against if used properly. The ability to screen for genetic diseases and the like at the point of conception and eliminate them is a fantastic opportunity to wipe out that particular avenue of human suffering, and it should certainly be fully exploited when we get the chance. Genetic engineering to pick traits other than that I'm a bit less in favour of, but that's going to be a huge source of funding for it. So designer babies, as they're rather tastelessly known, are almost certainly going to be a thing in the future, just to help fund research into the rest of it, no matter how much people lobby against it. As to patenting genes, I can't stand it. I genuinely despise it. In fact, I despise the entire US patent system. I mean, the Apple debacle shows up how kind of crap it is. Patents should be there to protect significant progress, and any company who tries to patent something as stupid as a particular visual design or indeed a gene they had no hand in creating should be fined into the ground, effectively for just being twats. Right, let's just try and get everything this time. We're clearly not going to get very far in this game. Let's just try and get some stuff. Look, like that mushroom there. There we go, see? That's what we need. Things. Right, what current scientific pursuit would you most like to see succeed and why? The James Webb Space Telescope, basically. It's a much more advanced successor to the Hubble Space Telescope, and while it's not something essential to our survival as a race or anything, we have to spend some money on projects that are just bloody cool, basically. You may have noticed I rather love astronomy, and the chance to get a closer look and more data on the birth of stars, planets and galaxies is something I'm, and many other people in the scientific community, are very excited about. What do you feel has been the most fundamental breakthrough in human history? Well, literally speaking, the discovery of quarks, because it doesn't get much more fundamental than the smallest known constituents of matter. But if you mean more tangible stuff, probably irrigation and other early farming revolutions. The foundation of good science is a population that's healthy and well-fed enough to actually have the time to spare experimenting. If you have to work out in the fields 20 hours a day just to get enough food to survive, there's no time for science or research, so it really is the groundwork for our entire society. What do you think is the next big breakthrough and why? Carbon, in short. In a few short years it's given us everything from carbon fibre to buckyballs to graphene and carbon nanotubes, and in the process it's made possible thoughts of everything from absurd jumps in computing power from miniaturising the components of CPUs, to even the vague possibility of things like space elevators, which until carbon, derivatives of carbon came along was really absurd. Just those 4 things between them have so many exciting potential uses, it's frankly almost scary, and who knows, carbon might have more wacky tricks up its sleeves we just haven't discovered yet, so never has such a mundane seeming element actually been so interesting. No, that's as high as I can cast portals. Oh, blimey. No, okay, I'm not convinced I'm going to be able to get up there, so let's stop trying, and go! There we are, they're fine, they're gone. What is your favourite invention or discovery in the last 100 years is an interesting question, but it definitely has to boil down to the dawn of modern computing, simply because it's enabled so much else. Without high-spec computers, almost none of the major scientific advances we've ploughed through in the last few decades could have happened. We'd have no high-powered microscopy, SEMs and that kind of thing to look at molecular structure, no space telescopes, no digital cameras, and no databases of things for scientists to browse through to get new data from. There'd be no advanced analytical equipment in hospitals, worse aerodynamics on cars, less fuel and power efficiency everywhere. Almost everything designed in the last few decades has been at least partially crafted and tested on a computer, and without them we'd be so much worse off it's almost unimaginable. And finally, number 10, of the many emerging technologies, which one do you personally think will have the most impact on people's lives once it's fully developed and widespread? It's not really a technology, but certainly the process on treatments and cures for cancer and heart disease will easily have the most impact on people's lives. Between the two of them, they account for about 41 to 42% of deaths worldwide at the moment. That's in every country. And for the first time in history, we're actually making real progress towards better treatments and even possible cures for both of them. In the next 2 or 3 decades, we can expect to see the death rates for both plummet, as far as I can see, which will have a huge effect on the lives of not just those suffering, but the families and friends. And never in human history have we had a chance to knock out such a massive cause of death in one go. And that's exciting pretty much any way you look at it. Fuck. Right, that concludes our first Short Answer Sunday. Please let me know what you think and leave any questions you have for next week in the comments so I have something to talk about. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope to see you next time, and farewell.